know how things work. I just want to do it or whatever. And he actually said, well, you should think about science. And I was like, whatever, Dr. Haynes. And went about my business. But it actually started something in my thoughts, and actually thought about, what I should be doing, and ended up participating in the MARC program, which got me really into research, which got me on a PhD path, which ultimately led me back to Morehouse. And what I took from that as a professor is that kind of a casual conversation that you can have, just kind of a moment with a student can really change directions in life, and that there's a lot of power in your interactions that you have as a professor and how you can impact the students, and that's something you have to kind of be mindful of and respectful of. So I'll say that about JK, and there's some other things, but I wanted to talk about the process of being interviewed by David Cook as to come on the biology program, and I applied for this position kind of last minute, and got an interview, came up to Morehouse. It was my first time. I gave a talk about my graduate research, which went well. I think I'm kind of excited people or whatever. Sits down with David in his office. We're talking. He did send a letter to my PI asking how I would inculcate myself into the department. Which I didn't even know the meaning of that word. I told my PI, he wants to know if I can inoculate myself into the department. I'm a yeast geneticist, so that's how I think about things. He sits me down, proceeds to ask me whether I was married, how many kids I had, what drugs I had taken, or whether I planned on having kids, He also, and I think this might have been why I came to Morehouse, he told me about how he took a sabbatical to learn how to play bass and play billiards, and that's a perfectly good use of time at Morehouse College. Like, this place is great, and really kind of taught me about what it would be like. I was I had not taught before, and certainly hadn't taught at that level. I was in medical schools for most of my career, so he told me I think this is common knowledge. You tell everybody that Benjamin Mays sent him home from Morehouse with a ham sandwich and a bus ticket. And look at me now. I'm chair of the department, and really inspired, both, his faculty and his students to achieve and do better. So, it was really wonderful to kind of come up under him, to come up with JK. I've been working with JK. We've, since COVID, he's had to, slum and teach the Bio 111 sections with me. So we're in the weeds together. And every time he threatens to retire, and every year he keeps coming back. And, I sit there, he will watch my lectures, and I watch his lectures. I'm like, all right, he's not ready. The dude is just not ready. When he's ready, I'll call it. But he's not ready to retire yet. So maybe in 5 years or so we can call it. All right, that's it.
So any other faculty? Any other faculty? Okay.
All right, we're going to move our program right along. We are now moving to the wonderful women of Neighborhood Map McBay. So if you have at any point worked in Neighborhood Map McBay with Dr. J.K. Haynes, a.k.a. Kermit, or Dr. David B. Cook, please, this is your time to come up to the mic. You know who I'm looking at. You know who I'm looking at. Yeah, go ahead and walk that microphone right over to the center of the floor. And introduce yourself to everyone, please.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Linda Nelson. I miss my Morehouse family. I was with Morehouse 20 years. And when Vandy called me to speak about Dr. Haynes, I'm like, yes. I want to barbecue him. I want to toast him. But the truth is, Dr. Haynes was a good mentor, a good friend, a good listener, and there's nothing bad I can say about him. But there is.
I'm sorry. sorry.
It's not, Robert. But there is one story I want to share with everybody. When my son was drafted with the Rockies, I had to hear from Dr. Haynes. Yeah, well, I played baseball too, and I did the long ball, and I did this and I did that. I said, well, you such a spastic, Dr. Haynes. You didn't do all that. He said spastic. He said spell it. I said Haynes. Good luck to you, Dr. Haynes, Dr. Cook. Cool, Dr. Cook. I did a few things for Dr. Cook in the biology department, and your retirement, I hope you're enjoying your grandkids and all that stuff. So cool to you and your jazz and pool. But Dr. Haynes, it was a pleasure working with you all those years. Carolyn, I remember you roasting me for getting him liver and said that you were going to have to be the one to take care of him and not me. So I apologize for that. There it is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other faculty member?
What's that? Yeah, we got some more over here. Mm-hmm. Please tell everyone your name and how you know these gentlemen. She got notes. I love it. I love it.
I couldn't, my name is Karen Morris. And I worked in the biology department for 17 years. And let's see, Vandy called and asked me to say something. I obliged because I couldn't say no, So I just thought I would, I can't just off the top of my head say stuff. I mean, I could, but I thought I would write some things down. So anyway, hi again. Let me start by saying top of the evening, but in the words of DBC3, top of the morning. Others say it, but it hits different coming from the pool shark. Wait, you're in my way. I need to see him. So for 17 years, I never heard the following as much as I did throughout those years. You got a better chance landing on the moon than getting into medical school. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Okay. How many of y'all heard that? Okay. All that glitters ain't gold. Hold it in the middle of the road, handle your business, and don't take no for an answer. All right? It's a marathon, not a sprint. Close but no cigar. You got to be able to sit for 10 hours without visions of sugar plums dancing in your head. You got one foot on a banana peel and the other foot on a razor blade. When he would leave the office, he'd walk by my desk. I'm a boogaloo down Broadway. Time to go. Peace. There were many times to go, I wanted to go into protection mode, like a mother protecting her child when students would be in his office. And oh my, the things that I heard. I wanted to just go in there and say, it's gonna be all right.
You motherfucker.
For sure, I never heard that, okay? It was probably said, but I didn't hear it. And Dr. Cook loved an audience. He would find some boys in the conference room on either side, and he'd be in there for hours just to talking. and just a talking and just a talking, and they would be just a listening. I never heard so many big words used at that time, before then and after them, because Dr. Cook had some words besides inculcate, cogitate, inculcate, all of that. I know this is a roast, but also to toast Dr. Cook. It's been one of the pleasures and joys of my life to have worked with you for all these years. You know, I've never felt pressured or uncomfortable. I've never, I've always enjoyed coming to work, and there's no one before you and no one after you that has been what you are and have been to me. And embrace my granddaughter. Everybody knows that was there during the time I used to bring my granddaughter to work when she wasn't even walking. She was in one of those things that a carrier, a stroller, and they always, embraced her. And Dr. Haynes. So anyway, cheers to you, toast to you. And then Dr. Haynes, well, I've been trying to convince him to retire for the last 2 or 3 years, and he keeps on coming back. He just can't give it up, turn it loose, right? He's short on patience. He's always yelling at the students, yelling at Renee. And I'd be trying to tell him, stop yelling at Renee. Stop yelling at Renee. But he did it out of love, Renee. He did it out of love. And then now I've gotten some of this input from a couple of students. Fortunately, that Dr. Haynes, has impacted. He said, one of them, I'm busy. His famous words, I'm busy. I don't have time. Sir, I'll see you next semester. I have new material for you. He would say, we're going to discuss it in gory detail, and then he'd switch from grave to gory. These students are going to make me lose my job. But all in all, he loves the students, and the students love him. No matter what he put them through, it's just they have had an impact in their lives that will be unmatched no matter what. I've been blessed. You all have been blessed. And it's been an honor and a pleasure to some of you I know, some of you I don't know, but it's been such an honor and a pleasure. And I'm so proud to say that I've worked at Morehouse. I can't go anywhere without running into Morehouse. So that's been a true blessing in my life. And I thank both of you for what you've poured into my life. Thank you.
Any other faculty members?
Well, I think we have one more lady of Neighbor Matt McVeigh that needs to speak.
Oh, sorry, ladies, excuse me. Yes, yes, ma'am.
Oh my God.
Say duck and cover.
Thank you. Here it comes. Good evening, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. It's such a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure even more to see all of you all here. I'm Renee Greer Calhoun, and I am Dr. Haynes' assistant, his teaching assistant, his assistant, and his assistant's assistant. That's who I am. I have been with Dr. Haynes now for 20 years. It's been a wild ride. Let me just start with Dr. Cook. Cookie. I am the only one that he affectionately lets call Cookie, because his father, his mom called his father that. And so I sort of coined it. And when he told me that, I was like, I'm going to call you Cookie from now on. But Cookie, I got to tell you, that vocabulary, under the auspices of the time that I have to talk about Cookie, I have a plethora of things to say. But as Dr. Haynes would say, I am going to get to the skinny, and I'm going to keep it high. But Dr. Cook has been a total joy. I was one of the people that his students would come to after they failed his class the third time. And they would say, Miss Renee, I cannot take Dr. Cook again. I can't take it. I can't take that class again. I was like, re-register for the class and take it again. But so we were, Karen and Linda and I, we were the moms and the psychiatrist who would get them back into the class and re-register them for the class because they didn't do it the first time. But Cookie was the most amazing, it still is, the most amazing physiology professor with the vocabulary that he had. And wow. And when students would say, I'm going to talk to Dr. Cook, I'd be like, how much time you got? Because you're going to be in there for a while. And then when you get in there, you're going to wish you had not been in there because he's going to really talk to you. But Cookie was amazing. Cookie, I love you. And with all of the sayings, my favorite one was when he passed my desk, getting ready to go out to his car. I'm boogalooing on down Broadway. I miss that so much. But I appreciate you, and I know your students do as well. But let me get over to Dr. J.K. Haynes. Oh, my gosh. Again, I have been with Dr. Haynes for 20 years. Wow. I can pass his course now. Took me 20 years, but I can pass his course now. And the students can't do that. Yeah, you're right. The students can't do that. But Dr. Haynes has been my mentor, my dad, my confidant, oh my gosh, I don't know what my life would be like now if I had not come in contact with Dr. J.K. Haynes. I sort of follow him around campus and make sure he doesn't fall out or anything. But gosh, I have to tell you guys, he tells this story about how I got his itinerary wrong and sent him to New York when he was supposed to be in Philadelphia. That is not a true story. And to this day, he keeps saying that. I was like, don't listen to that story. It's not true. But throughout the thousands and thousands of recommendation letters that I have typed, and wow, and all of the students that he has recommended all got in. Please believe they got in, and they're now wonderful physicians now, and we're all very proud of you with doing that. But wow, I don't know how much time I could talk about you for. Hey, but yeah, he fusses at me all the time. Renee, why do you treat me like this? And I say, okay, what have I done this time? But I don't know what I would do without hearing that voice. Wow. And everybody's trying to get him to retire. He's never leaving. And we're going to roll him in, and we're going to roll him back out. But to the both of you who have made totally amazing differences in my life, I don't know where I would be without both of you. And it's such a pleasure. It's such a pleasure. But I just want to have one last question to ask the both of you. And the question is this. Did you ever know you were my hero? You're everything I would want to be. I could fly higher than an eagle, 'cause you are the wind beneath my wings. Let me ask you this again. Did you ever know you were their hero? You're everything they would want to be. They can fly higher than an eagle, 'cause you are the wind beneath their wings.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, I want to crash this party. I wasn't invited to ask to speak, but I'm going to speak anyway. My name is Sheila Paris. Go ahead and say it. Go ahead and say it, Dr. Brown.
No,
say
go
something.
ahead. Go ahead. You got 2 minutes.
Okay. My name is Sheila Paris. I am the operator of Morehouse College. I am the voice of Morehouse. Dr. JK, I'm going to follow right behind Renee. If I had a hammer, I hammer in the morning, I hammer in the evening, all over this land. I hammer out danger, I hammer out a warning, I hammer out love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land. Dr. Cook, top of the morning to you.
Thank you so much. All right. So as before we can get to this next part, which is going to be a toast of a roast/toast from the Morehouse men, we're going to start that off with our very own Dr. Eric Tate.
So just a little ground rules, because you give a Morehouse man a mic, you might not get it back. So we're going to try to keep this 30 seconds to a minute. The hour is getting long. Please, if you have a touching story, please share it, but be mindful of time. And so for me, I took JK's course as a sophomore, Dr. Cook's course as a junior, so I'm going to kind of go in chronological order. For me, Dr. Haynes is responsible for the worst Christmas in the Tate household ever. Scene 1995. My sister, I think she might have opened up the grades that day. So, scene 1995. I come home. There is just a chill in the household. And they're looking at me like I'm crazy. So I went to Morehouse on a scholarship, but if any of you all know, you have to maintain a 3.0 every semester, not cumulative. And I was messing around, pretending like I was trying to pledge something, which didn't end up happening. And so that whole first semester sophomore year was a blur, right? And so I didn't do what I was supposed to be doing. Dr. Haynes didn't care, and he didn't know me from Adam. I was kind of in the back of the class. I didn't care, whatever, right? I'm trying to get through. But when I figured out for the final that I needed to get 145 out of 150 to get a B in the class, I was like, oh, okay. Challenge accepted. And so this is where, because I kind of coasted through freshman year. Freshman year was fine, whatever, right? But cell biology final was the first time I ever had to pull an all-nighter. It was the first time I had to actually push it into gear. My father used to always say to me, and he says it to me this day, I need you to work to your full potential. That was the first time I had ever worked in my life to my full potential. I got 148 out of 150. Now, which would have given me my what I needed. But this man here calculated the grade wrong, and so what went home in the little carbon copy was I had a C, which gave me a 2.98. Was not enough. So my parents looked at me. There was going to be no Christmas in the Tate household. I was like, no. He calculated that wrong. I knew what number I needed to hit. I hit that number. We went back and we fixed it. Everything was fine. But he was the one who put it into gear to understand if you were trying to be a professional, this is the level you're going to need to be at. And that was the first time I ever had to kick it into gear. And he revved me up to a level where I was like, okay, this is where we need to be to get through this place with these professors. Fast forward to junior year. So I was where I needed to be junior year. So I had no problem in Dr. Cook's class. We were good from that standpoint. The thing about Dr. Cook that I will always remember, and it was part of the ham sandwich, because that story gets recycled, but it depends on the context. I'm going to give you some context. So back in the mid to late 90s in Atlanta, third weekend in the spring, there was this little party event called Freaknik. Now, Dr. Cook, did you have a Honda back then? Were you driving a Honda back then? Do you remember? It was Honda, yeah. So this is right around Freaknik time. So this is what, let me demonstrate. Toothpick is needed for this demonstration that all of you know. Gentlemen. I don't do impressions well, but gentlemen. I'm just trying to get in here to teach this class, because it was an afternoon class. Physiology was afternoon. And all you with these fancy cars out here driving around, I can't park my car. On the dais, he's like, we're not doing physiology today. Lord knows you all would not have these fancy cars if your parents were not paying this insurance. I don't know what you think this is going to be in the world, who you think this is going to be, but the only place success comes before work is in the dictionary. So you think and I'm paraphrasing now, you think this life that you're living in college, your parents paying for you, and everything is fancy, everything is nice, is what the real world is about? That's not what this is about. And we did not do physiology that day. We did black man session that day. It was at that point I realized why I went to an HBCU. Because we did not do class that day, but we did one of the most important classes that I've ever taken in my life that day, because clearly I am recounting it to you like it was yesterday. That's what these men instilled in us. Beyond the grades, beyond all of those kinds of things, it was the fact that there were things that we needed to know that weren't in a textbook. There were things that we needed to understand that, many of us came from privileged backgrounds. Some of us were first in college, but he needed for us to understand that when we went out into the real world, it was not going to be Morehouse College. And I will always appreciate that. I will always tell that story. I will always tell students the only place success becomes for work in the dictionary, because that man taught me that. And that's all I got, guys. Thank you.
Leave it to a Morehouse man to say we got 30 seconds to a minute, and then sit his ass up here and talk for 5 minutes. It was very touching. It's very touching, my brother. All right, please, next, brother. Let me explain something, okay? Because I'm about to really take over the microphone, all right? Y'all got 2 minutes, okay? You don't have 3 minutes. You don't have 5, all right? Dr. Tate's special. He's on the board, okay? But listen, y'all got 2 minutes.
All right.
All right.
All right. Harry Taylor, class of 95. I love these men. These men will pour into you, everything into you, if you're open to that. They'll pour into you, everything into you, if you're open to that. And we're all sort of products of that, right? And so we come in here in the classroom. I got everything I needed in the classroom from both of these men. But I got more than that. I got the culture too. So coming from a non-privileged background, I wasn't exposed to a whole lot. Then we had Dr. Cook here talk about his thousands of jazz recordings, and I was into hip hop, didn't listen to much jazz. But so because I had the class work taken care of, I would go to his office hours and we listened to music. And he would expose me to Coltrane, Miles. And so then, I learned a little bit, and so I did a little search, and I started going to record shops looking into some of the younger, newer cats. So in 1994, Joshua Redman released Mood Swing, his debut release. And I brought it to his office and said, Dr. Cook, you heard of this Joshua Redman? No, man, I hear it. So he put it in and we listened to it. And this was the first song I played for Dr. Cook, Sweet Sorrow.